Friendship may actually go beyond just relating on
A superficial
basis.
There's the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
There are some of us who are not very good at regular visit, but because they are friends,
You have
in order to maintain that friendship.
The emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of the children.
Welcome, viewers, again to our family program right here on Equa TV, The Living Room. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and today we want to talk about the youth. The past week, we had Youth Week in Equa, and the limelight was on youth. And for some of you out there, maybe you are used to having Youth Week in your church, you're like, let them come and make noise and go. But we don't think it's just noise that they make. We need to listen to them. We need to pay attention to them and understand their importance and the roles they need to play in the church for us to move in the direction that God has called us to. So to discuss this are some young men that I have with me today, young men who are very close to my heart, my people. That's what I call them. We have with me, well, look at him. Camera turn on him. Is Stephanus Grumtet, also a.k.a. Rich Uncle. Oh. That's what I call him. So whenever you see him, please bill him. He's got the money. He got what it takes to do that rich uncle vibes. And you can see he has a rich uncle vibes. And then we have Jezreel here, Jezreel Upper with us also. Yeah. And they'll tell us a little about themselves before we delve in. Let's start with you, Jezreel.
Okay. As Antia said, my name is Jezreel Upper. I work with Emmaus Bible Center's mission in the accounts admin department. And then I am a youth, as you can see. Then I'm in the leadership of the youth ministry of my church.
Okay.
Yes.
Why do they call you Jezreel? Just curious.
Why they call me Jezreel is because it's the name that I was given.
Why did you were never curious to ask your parents why they decided on that name?
Okay, I was actually.
Okay.
They gave me 3 names. One is my tribal name. Then second, I grew up hearing people calling me King, especially my mom's side. So I asked one day, and I learned that the first name that I was given was Martin Luther King. Up to now, some people call me King. But Jezreel was the one actually that I prefer.
Why do you prefer Jezreel?
Because of the meaning.
What does it mean?
Planting of the Lord.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Planting of the Lord. So
yes.
You are planted of the Lord.
Yes.
Emoji. Well done.
Yeah, sure-footed.
So, Isti, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Grumtet Stephanus again. And I'm a lecturer.
Which one is your name?
Stephanus.
Okay.
Okay, there's the one I love so much, though I don't use very well. Long tongue is my
long
name.
tongue?
Yes,
really?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means the settled wealth.
Oh, settled. You see why I call you rich uncle? Wow. You see why I call you rich uncle? Settled wealth. Correct. Okay.
So I am a biochemist. I love research. And a lecturer with Calcum University, Bonn.
Yeah. Yes, you've told us that before because you've been here before. Yeah. Okay. Young people.
Yeah.
What is it about young people? Why do you guys think that you're important? Why do you guys think you're important? Really?
Okay, I should start.
Yeah.
Okay. I so believe that we feel we are important because you are only young ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a phase of life where you're at your prime, after which you will actually enter another phase that you never thought maybe existed. You know, when you're growing up, you see people with wrinkled skin and you'll be like, what have these people done? somehow, but as you grow older, you begin to have some kind of radical change in your thoughts. And then that youthful stage is that place where you are at your prime, where you have all the strength possible, of which once you leave that phase, life will really take another turn. That if you do not maximize that phase of your youth, you will really, really not like it. It's not just scripture said it, but that is coming from practical life experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isti, what is it about Vivian?
I wouldn't say we feel. No, that's like relegated. We don't feel. We are important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us.
We
Well,
are important
yes.
because we are the future.
Hmm.
Yes, we are the future. Whatever has a beginning must surely have an end. So as our parents are fading away, we are coming to replace them. So we are very important.
Hmm. Okay.
It's because we are important that we feel important.
Okay. All right. Well put. Okay. So for young people, a young person who is watching now, what would you say to him or her to understand that, as you said, this is an important phase of their life? How would you explain that to them so that they understand that this is important and they need to take it seriously?
Yes, I would say to that young person listening to us now that, you see, you can only live once. You cannot have double life. So at every phase of your life, there's an expectation. So, and if you don't maximize the opportunity you have at this phase now, I mean, there was once upon a time you were a child and somebody took decisions for you. Now you are at that phase where you need to take decisions for yourself. So whichever decision you choose to take now will determine your future. So this is very important that you take everything you do very serious, because this youthful phase of your life can only be lived once. So we have to make the most of it.
No repeat exam.
No.
No repeat semester.
No.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's
Okay,
right.
Jesse, speak to that,
Okay.
to the young people. What is important about this phase of their life?
As I have said before, scripture said that the glory of the youth is in their strength. This is the phase where you are filled with strength. And because of the brevity of life and the brevity of time, I remember, Billy Graham once on a TED Talk, he was called upon. He was old that time and he was asked, what's the most shocking thing about life? And it was just few words, say the brevity of life. That this life is so brief. I think the devil will want to tell you that you have time. Therefore, you can do all that you can do. Somehow, along the way, you can now make adjustments. And then now serve God and then kind of put your life in order. But you don't have the luxury of time, number one, and then the entirety of your life, like you do not know what is even tomorrow. The brevity of life, the uncertainty of what the future holds. And now you have all your strength. It's very, very important that you deploy all of this strength, all of this energy, all of this creativity and everything that God has blessed you even in this season, to make sure that at the end of it, you actually put everything into a worthy cause at the end of the day.
You people sound so serious. And I think, yeah, you will make it sound so serious. And I think there are a number of youth out there who think that this is the time to enjoy. I've heard, I've heard youth say this is the time to enjoy themselves. This is the time to have fun. This is the time to do and explore, whatever it is that they wish to explore. Try out new things. Do so many things. Do crazy things, because this is the only time they have. people are making it sound like they need to be serious and plan for their future at a time when they should be enjoying. Please, why are you people serious like this?
Well, I think that there's no phase of life that does not require seriousness. Yes, because a lot of people they've played their life into their grave. They've played themselves, and that quest for pleasure, that quest to enjoy yourself, has taken them to their to their grave early. Yeah, so for me, I wouldn't say serious. I mean, even as we are talking about it, I don't think it's serious. It's actually what is expected. Yes, it's actually what is expected of me to do.
But it just sounds like you guys are joy killers. Things that you young people want to do, you people want to kill it.
If you would want to always obey how you feel, how you feel is deceptive. Feelings is deceptive. Why? Because go back to the book of Genesis. Already we have the Adamic nature. Ourselves will always deceive us. So there's a sense in which if you just want to go with the flow, just go with how you feel, your feeling will take you to the place that you don't need to be. So that phase of your life where you want to explore, you want to do things, some people have tried it and God has shown them mercy and they are still alive. Some tried it but never came out. So hence the reason why, well, if you have the opportunity, be serious with your life. Please get serious.
Jesse, what do you have to say to that?
Okay, it's not necessary to tell them that they cannot enjoy themselves, but some things that we call fun and we call enjoyment, they are relative. They are not mostly absolutely defined, and at times you cross over the boundary lines to enter into another place that at the end of the day you will really not like it. So what we are trying to say is that this your life, you should live it with purpose, with meaning, whether you are doing recreational activities, things for fun, that every minute you make sure that this life that you have, you spend it on something that is worth your time even in this phase, so that you are not carried away by merriment and ecstasy and every kind of, we call it youthful exuberance. There's such things as youthful lust. They are expressed like in the Bible, and then we see it all around. So some people not being able to define what pleasure is, not being able to define what enjoyment is, they actually go overboard, and they go, as Isti said, they go on that journey of no return. If God shows you mercy, fine. If not, you will just come back. That if you are alive, you will still stay with regret, maybe even up to one's grave.
Yeah, because you wanted to say
I
something.
think we should define what is fun.
Yes, enjoyment.
Yes, I think we should
Enjoyment, that's what is fun.
Yeah,
Enjoyment.
We should put fun into context.
Mm.
Yes, when you say fun, what do you mean fun? Clubbing?
Mm-hmm.
Drinking?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
Chasing girls.
girls,
Boys.
doing the whole thing, partying around.
Mm-hmm. That's what they say is fun.
That's not fun. That's being wasteful. That's being wasteful. You're wasting your life, you're wasting resources, you're wasting your time, you're wasting everything. So if you asked me if I would say fun, I mean, going to church is fun. Praying is fun. Singing is fun.
Studying the Bible
is fun.
See, that's why that's why people will say these ones are boring guys. Okay.
Yeah. So fun, I think, depends on the perspective
Of
you're
the
looking
person.
at it. Yes.
Yeah. But I think something important that you had also alluded to earlier is the fact that the decisions and choices you make now will affect you in the future. Some will determine how your life will turn out.
Yes.
And as you also alluded to, some have even terminated their lives early by the choices that they have made. But long term, the choices, this is the time to build. Either you want a good future or you want a problematic one. Because I've seen young people who have made bad choices early. Like there's one I was trying to, talk to like 10 years ago when he was still in his 20s. I was like, you need to go back to school. You need to do this, do that. But he wasn't listening to me because he felt he was enjoying himself. He was having fun, in quotes, and do whatever he likes. Now, 10 years down the line, he's made such bad choices. He really doesn't have a job because he hasn't gone to school. You know, life has been tough. Life has dealt him a terrible blow. You know, all the so-called friends that were gathering around him, they are no more because he's of no use to them anymore. He's wretched, he's poor. That's what he is. You know, and thinking what to do with his life now because he's almost 40 and he hasn't even started the path to success. Let me put it like that. And of course, most importantly, he had put away God from his life. He didn't have time for God all these years. Well, now he's trying to trace his step back, but a lot of damage has already, has already been done. So, being wise and circumspect when you are young, I think, from what you guys have said, is very important to choose the life you want. But I'm going to get back to this boring lifestyle people are alluding to.
Okay.
But not
No
yet. I'm going to get back. I want us to discuss really.
Yeah.
So this youth week that we just, want us to get back to it. Why is it even important to have a youth week? You know, think about that. Why is it even important? Why do you think the church set aside a week for young people, say youth, Ekwa Youth Week of Prayer? What was that? Is it necessary?
Yes, it's very necessary, and I believe that ECWA as an organization was founded upon the ministry of young people. We have their picture outside the studio. Thomas Kent, Roland Bingham, and Walter Gordon. It's founded by these young people. So the place of the young people cannot be overemphasized. As we have said, that it's really a phase of life that you go through only once. Our parents have gone through it, and now we are going through it, and we actually know that the peak of life is in this season of youthfulness. And the youth also are the future of the church. The church now will need to now begin to redefine how they really look at youth. Youth are very important because if you do not have sure-footed youths,
we get to that.
Yes, sure-footed youths who you'll be able to pass the baton to. I am not sure that there will be a church in times to come. It will be like the time of Joshua and then the judges between that line, where there will be a generation that are without God. So the youth are very important because they are the carriers of this vision of the church even to the next generation.
So we should deliberately have a time
that time and
to put the spotlight on them.
Yes, and beside that also I think it's a tradition because not only the youth, they have a week that they celebrate the men, celebrate the women.
We're important now.
Yes, celebrate the children. I think ECWA is strategic in actually figuring out, like, getting these people and seeing how important they are. And they have a week where they are celebrated in the course of the year.
Oh, great.
Although I think every week should be Youth Week.
So
I don't know. It's like if you are going right, I'm going left. Every week should be Youth Week. Yes, because I think that there's a sense in which if we're not careful, we would want to just put 1 week, 7 days in the month, the year, and then we'll come and enjoy ourselves, do all the razzmatazz and everything, and then we go, it's over, and we are back to our life. But having said that, it's also important that we have this week, specifically designated for the youth, because that's the time to preach. That's the time to reach out. That's the time to bring, it's like a time of sober reflection. How have we been faring so far? Where are we coming from? Where are we at? Where are we going to? So it's important for us to have that moment to have the sober reflection. But whether or not we take time to do those things is something else.
That's what I wanted to ask. Are people really doing sober reflections?
Yes. Yeah. But I think that's the essence of having this week of prayer, and it's very important. It's very necessary. I mean, you never can tell. Somebody may just give his, like, in fact, I gave a testimony during the youth week, and there was somebody I've been trying to pursue. This brother, he's doing well. He's working in a very good organization. So he's seeing money, and probably earning more than me. right? So I've been trying to talk to him about God. But the day I gave my testimony, the next time I met him in church, he was the one that came and met me. He said, I will look for you.
Hmm.
He said, I will look for you. So if I hadn't gotten that opportunity during the youth week to share my testimony, maybe I wouldn't have gotten his attention. So probably God was waiting for me to get to that point in my life to say, let me share this. And then this person is probably going through something similar. And then God is using it to draw his attention. So it's important for us to have this week designated so that we can meet with ourselves, enjoy the programs ourselves, and then do a sober reflection.
Okay, I told you are very serious. All this thing you see. Anyway, I saw you guys have hoodies, written sure-footed, and the scripture coming from Habakkuk
That's right.
3, verse
3,
19.
19.
So please, can you let us in on what all this is about? Because you guys, on a guy level, it's another level. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Okay. The sure-footed is a sub-theme from the general theme of Equa, which is the vision is for an appointed time. The sure-footed is still from Habakkuk. That one is Habakkuk 2:3.
That's our theme for Equa.
Yes, for Equa, and then down the line, the prophet actually made this statement about being sure-footed.
I was afraid. I thought you said the prophet just said sure-footed.
No.
just break a t-shirt and a hoodie and write sure-footed. I was waiting for you to tell us that the prophet said that.
We got this sub-theme for the fellowship from there, sure-footed. So that's actually how it came to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So what does that mean? As a youth, when you say sure-footed, what do you mean?
Okay, sure-footed means a lot of things. Habakkuk 3:19 says that, for the sovereign Lord is my strength. He made my feet as sure-footed as the deer, and he set me upon my high places. And the idea of being sure-footed, well, there is a backdrop story when you read Habakkuk chapter 1, chapter 2, about all the calamities that are coming. There is a resolve that the prophet actually made with his trust in God. He already said initially that the just will live by his faith. So at this very point in time, in voicing out his faith, making this resolve, he made this statement. It's a statement of trust. It's a statement of stability, of someone who is standing upon a sure ground, not upon a sinking sand, upon a solid rock, that your faith will not be shaken in spite of everything that is going on. And for us as a fellowship, this actually came, having seen all that is going on, is not just the different calamities that are coming upon the nation, but we have seen the rise of false teaching. We have seen the introduction of many strange doctrines being brought into the church, and there we are so disturbed that we want actually to be a community of people who are rooted in Christ, and who are equipped to serve, and who are empowered to transform the world. And from there we got this word, being sure-footed in our faith and in every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
You see, you want to?
So I think it's a way of we trying to own the team. Yes, because we do this every year. Anytime there's a team for Equa, we don't want it to look as if somebody gave us.
You want to own it?
Yes, let's own it. Now, this is the theme for the vision is for an appointed time and all of that. How do we remind ourselves? So we came up with our leaders came up with the sure-footed. Now, when we say sure-footed, it reminds us of where we are coming from and where the general team of Equa and all of that. And it's a way, like I said earlier, for us to own it and run with it. Yes.
But just curious, this Habakkuk, do you think, was he a young man? Do you think he was a young man or an old man, an old prophet?
No, he was a young man. He was a young man.
Okay. So just saying so that young people will also understand that you can be young and be a prophet, right?
Yes.
You don't have to have gray hair.
No.
Like that. When they say prophet, people think of those Moses with gray hair, rolling down, long beard, like Merlin.
Yeah,
in those wizard films.
Gandalf.
Gandalf.
Gandalf,
When
yeah.
people are thinking of prophets, that's the kind of thing. But it's good for young people to know that, look,
Yeah.
you can be young and God can be using you
Very well.
to do whatever it is that God will want you to do.
Yes, sure.
Okay, we'll go on break. When we come back, we'll now talk about the youth and the future of the church, because you guys have been alluding to the fact that, well, you said you are not thinking, you know. They are very important. So viewers, thank you for not touching the dial. We'll come back right after our break to continue this very interesting discussion on the youth and the future of the church. See you right after the break. Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke. We anchor the program, The Living Room, right here on Equa TV International.
You are welcome to watch us every Monday.
The Living Room is a very interesting family program where we discuss everything you want to know about family.
Talk about our children's mental health.
Keep watching. Our program is always here, 5:30 every Monday. We want you to ask questions. We want you to phone in and drop topics that you want us to talk about, even on our media handle on Facebook. We're there. So keep watching, keep listening. The Living Room. Welcome viewers from our break. Thank you for still being there to continue to watch us right here at the Living Room. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and I've been here with Stephanos, aka Rich Uncle, Bill him, as I said, and Jezreel, aka Jezzy. Yeah, that's what his friends call him. So that you'll know that they are not as serious as they are looking. But this serious thing, before we talk about the future, because we've been talking about the importance of youth and why the Youth Week of Prayer, Equa Youth Week of Prayer, and why they are wearing their hooded tops, written sure-footed. They've answered all those. Anyway, so before we go into the discussion of the youth and the future of the church, you know, I'd said they were very serious guys, and many people complain about Christian guys being serious. Maybe we'll discuss this another day, but just to ask, you know, they said, I've asked a few young ladies, including Christian ladies, why they seem to be interested in marrying non-believers or unserious brothers when they are serious brothers in the house, like Jay-Z and Steve. They are bachelors. Just so that we know. And they told me that the problem with brothers is that brothers are very boring. That all you people talk about is the word of God. You only want to do prayer meetings, and that people are just So I know you didn't plan for this, but please, you guys tell me, are you guys really boring?
Is this start?
You see, start. So why is the girls are complaining about you guys? That you guys are all boring. All you do, and he still has the prayer ministry in his church. So maybe that's why he's so boring. But what speak to that before we go into the main meat of the matter of the day, actually. But
Yeah.
just curious.
Well, I guess I wouldn't say no. Like, I wouldn't say what they are saying is not valid. Probably they are speaking from experience. But I think Christian brothers they're one of the most fun people to be with.
With prayer meeting.
Prayer is fun. Prayer is fun.
That's scary.
No,
Scary because everybody thinks that when you come to pray, you know, strong face, very serious, you want to pray. Then
No.
you guys are saying prayer is interesting.
Why I say so is because, well, I think, I wouldn't say there are no Christian young guys that don't have a way of balancing life and all of those things. But I think if there's anything the Word of God has taught me personally is to learn to balance life. There's time for everything. In fact, there was a day I was going to hang out with somebody, and I told them, I said, "Hey, I'm going to hunt." yeah. So the point for me is, I think it is expected of us to have balance. There's time for fun. There's time for. But you see, I have a problem with the sisters making that complaint.
I was expecting that.
Yes. Now, what they do is actually they when they say you are not fun, they have a standard of what fun is.
Yes.
Right? So they if you don't fit into that box of what they call fun,
Yeah,
you're not
boring.
fun. You're
You're
boring.
boring.
And most times, there's a template the world has shown them that if you don't fit into that template, you're not fun to be with. And that's an error. If you want to, maybe you want a Christian brother.
They want a Christian brother, but anyway, go on now. Tell me
Yes.
the type of Christian brother.
With the touch of who now? Hush puppy.
Yeah. Hush puppy.
Sorry. So the point is, if we say we want a standard, don't expect a brother that is truly, I mean, unless you want to hang out with somebody who is just coming to church for coming sake and then he's living another life outside. Don't expect him to behave like Wizkid. Don't expect this brother to behave like a Davido or something. There's a standard. So if this is the kind of person or this kind of people, just be ready that where there are things that you cannot do. There's a restriction. So if what you call fun is see him behave like Davido, you will not see it. You won't see us behave like that. Because
So,
it's-
Jezreel, why are you boring? Why are you boring?
I
They say
boring?
you guys are boring. I don't know. They say Christian brothers are boring. It's you that is saying that prayer is fun. Are you not?
Prayer is actually an interesting venture. Okay, just as he has said, people define a lot of things as both boring and interesting. At times they don't even come close. Like somebody recently told me that when I first joined the youth ministry many years ago, that I look like a very serious person. Until now, when she came close, then I have sense of humor. You know,
So
like
there's something about to happen there. This one, she
no,
has
not
This one, she
really.
said, has sense of humor. Jezreel, still, tell us.
Not really.
Okay.
But they haven't like come close enough. I so much believe that it's kind of a belief that many people are holding, that they might not have investigated to even know. And this generalization that because maybe somebody was boring, then everybody now is boring. And just as we have also said that if you really want to be a serious person with God, it's not everything that you will be able
Involved
to do.
in.
Yes, so that I do not try to change to fit into what somebody calls as interesting. A little story. Some years ago, my classmates were doing some kind of partying, and I didn't want to go. A friend forced me to. Like, not forced me, but he really influenced me to. Immediately I reached that place, everybody was shouting, "What brought you here?" Right? They least expected me to be there because I'm like,
They
why?
knew this is not the kind of thing.
This
you
is
want.
not, but why? Because there was smoking and drinking and dancing. In fact,
So your
just
presence killed the vibe now.
yes, in fact, just like Saul that was collecting people's
Clothes when they wanted
when
to stone Stephen.
that's how everybody was giving me at least sweat. And I left in the middle of the whole thing, and when I went, I was so devastated because some people felt that you have a light, we don't expect you. Now that you're coming, there were some kind of disappointed in me by even going there. Like, I don't need to change myself to certain things that people expect to be fun. Not necessarily as he has spoken about balance, that there are brothers that are not repping us well. They look very serious. Some of them, they won't dress well. Some of them not even brushing their teeth. And they look very serious, as if
They're
this
just coming from the mountain. you know.
but coming from the mountain, the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Yeah.
So it is not that you are wearing a frown face. Spirituality is not frowning. You can losing a bit. You can actually try to balance everything up so that you're not lacking in one aspect. As you're spiritual, you take a cue from Jesus. He grew up socially, he grew up mentally, he grew up spiritually as well,
in wisdom,
and in
favor with God and
and
in favor
man.
with man. Yeah. So
Yes.
Jesus was balanced.
So
yeah.
there is this place for balance. Some brothers did not rep us well.
But I think just to say that I think the young ladies also should have realistic expectations of what a Christian should be.
Yes.
You can't. There are some things that a Christian will not do. Any serious Christian brother will not do, and you shouldn't be expecting those things. That means sometimes it also calls to question your own Christianity, whether you are also a serious child of God, because as they say, they want a Daddy Adeboye with a touch of Davido.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that works, because when you're a Christian, every aspect of your life is touched by God, and it reflects God, whether waking up, sleeping, morning, afternoon, night, at work, socially, everywhere. God should be showing, and the Holy Spirit work in your life should be made manifest all the time. Anyway, let's leave that one. Maybe we'll have a special discussion on that, why
Fine.
brothers are boring and how to make you people more interesting.
Okay.
Now, youth are the future of the church. What how do you see that? You know, I think Stephanos had alluded to that earlier, that
Yeah.
the youth are the future of tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So the youth are the future of the church. But in practical terms, I want you to break it down. Maybe we'll start with you, Jesse. How will the youth, or how do youth affect the future of a church, a congregation, and the church as a body generally?
Okay, I would like to say first that, as I already said, that it's really a phase where now the youth have strength, have all the vigor to be able to carry on the work. And youth being the future of the church, I'll take a cue from, is it Deuteronomy now, that this thing, teach it to your children. And they in themselves, Deuteronomy 6, they will teach to to their own children and to their own children. God is very, very particular when it comes to succession and continuity of his work and continuity of the faith. So the deliberateness of the fathers to hand over the baton to the younger one is very, very critical. That we now stand in a place where a lot of things are clamoring for our attention. The devil knows so well, just as God ultimately knows, that this is the phase where you get the best of a person. The best of a person. Remember your Creator on the day of your youth. The devil knew actually what God also knew. So the devil is out there to get the young people to make sure that even if he will not kill them, at least he gets the best part of this, so that when they are in their 70s and they come to that realization,
It's
you
too late.
cannot go for evangelism. You cannot try to do anything.
Well, let's not say they cannot, but they won't be able to do
Okay,
much.
you
Won't
cannot
do
be able
much.
to do it so effectively. You live there with regret. So we are in that phase where it's very, very critical that our fathers have to now reconsider what our youth ministry should be. That this is the phase where a lot of the investment ought to go to, because they are the carriers of this faith to the next generation. And he's looking at me, one very serious person.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to carry this faith and hand it over to those
Your
that are
own next generation.
to the next generation. In that way, there will be continuity, there will be a smooth succession, because it's very, very critical when we look at places like Europe. God does not intend that whatever you have as a faith now, you like auntie, that everything now should just die with you. The investment of God, everything that God has invested in you, there is nobody that you have poured out to. Paul will say to Timothy, the things that you've heard from me, commit it also to faithful men.
Yeah.
But for you to commit it to faithful men, you have to raise faithful men to be able to commit it to them, so that they in turn will be able to give it to others. So I think it's very, very critical that we need to rethink youth ministry and the place of this generation of young people in carrying the faith even to the future, because truly the youth are the future of the church in every generation.
You still?
So,
Can I
so
speak to
I'm
that?
going to start by reminding you of something you told me many years ago.
I hope it's something good.
Yes.
Somewhere on air.
Yes. So I remember I was that phase where I was in a relationship, things were tough, and then I was at that point of decision making. What do I do? I mean, the point is marry and travel to UK, move out of Nigeria and all of that. I know you told me something. I was at that point where I was almost, well,
Yielding
let's do
to-
it. I like this girl now. Let's just do this thing and let's settle it, right? And you know, I remember you told me one thing. Are you sure? But you told me God wants you to do this, do this, do this. That was the turning point for me. Yes, that was the turning point for me. Now I'm relating this with the youth and the future. Now I'm going to talk about the youth and the future, but I'm saying that there's a sense in which there's an expectation of what we take from our parents. There's that guidance we need to get from them, so that where we are going to, we need where they are coming from. Actually, we are taking over is not because they cannot do it, it's because their strength is weak at that point. So there's something they have deposited in us that is expected of us to carry through to the next generation and then pass it to our own, children and offspring like that. So the point is that the youth they are very pivotal to the church. Now, even in a generation now that church is now dynamic. Yes, I say church is
Very
dynamic
dynamic.
because there are a lot of spheres of influence that hitherto it was as if it's not for Christians.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not for Christians. You talk about media, you talk about commerce, you talk about,
Entertainment.
and the whole idea is that, oh no, we are not of this world. We are going to
Yeah, we are going
heaven.
home.
Let's
Yeah.
not do all of those things. But you see, we are still here. We heard it for many generations. Yes, and for instance, let's take politics. They told us that going into politics is like you are lost, right? Yeah. Personally, I had that experience. I was vying for the president of my departmental association when I was in undergraduate. It took 6 months. I was praying and making consultations. Because, in fact, some people believed that I was lost. All right? Let me not go to that, but until I started telling them about some of the things God used me to do while I was there till date. Maybe subsequently, there's going to be somebody who will break my record. Nobody has break my record in that department, the administration. Right? So I'm saying that the youth we are very important to the church, because whatever the future of the church will be like is us. It's lying on our shoulders. So we cannot afford to, you see, and that's where this seriousness is very important. We cannot,
I agree.
we cannot afford not to be serious, because there's going to come that phase of our life with this kind of pressure and this kind of social media thing and everything that is boxing and pushing us. If we are not serious now, when are we going to be serious? So it is very important. Now, coming to the side of our parents, the present church, the church leadership, there's a sense in which I think they should be very deliberate. You see, this thing, passing this baton, is not something that you will just sit down and sleep and say, yes, tomorrow I'm leaving, my child will take it. No, you can't do it casually. We have to be very deliberate about it, which is where we now start talking about what is the church doing about politics? What is the church doing about commerce? What is the church doing about media? Because these are places you are planting your foot soldiers. Don't expect, okay, my church, our church, what we say is that we have an ambassadorial mandate, right? And the mandate is that we believe that anywhere we are going, we should represent God there and all of that. But you see, we will fall into the temptation of believing that these 4 walls of the church, sometimes they don't see in church, they begin to ask you, God has blessed you. God, but where am I supposed to function? Not in the church. You have equipped me already. The expectation is for me to go all out there and represent God. So I think there's a sense in which the present church needs to be very deliberate, or else we're losing lots of young people to different, aspects of the world today.
So you're leading me to what I wanted to ask next. So how, from where you stand and what you're saying, how can the church be deliberate about making sure that the youth are well positioned to take on the mantle and move it on to the next generation. Because recently, the scriptures I've been reading have got me thinking a lot, crying a lot. Day before yesterday, I was just crying in the morning when I was praying. I was feeling sorry for Jehoshaphat.
Yeah.
Because Jehoshaphat is long dead, but I was crying and like, oh, this man, if wherever he was in heaven, he'll be crying. Because his son, he gave things to all his children. You know, he handed, things, both land, cities, and wealth to the children, but gave the first son kingship because he was the first son. This guy got up and killed all his brothers. And I was crying. I said, oh God, this Jehoshaphat who was so righteous. So I'm like, I've been asking myself, what went wrong? What went wrong? So is it that this boy was not trained to really be a leader? He was just given kingship because he was the first child. Is that just enough to make somebody a leader? And then, reading about other kings subsequently, I was like, something is just wrong. And I think just assuming that we'll be able to hand over to this generation just like that will cause trouble for us if we do not train them, prepare them, and position them to take over this thing properly. It's not just enough that Jezreel has been in church all these years. Then when it's time, we appoint him leader or pastor or whatever it is, and we expect that he's going to do well. Well, he may do the job itself, but his relationships with other people, he may like Jehoshaphat's son, kill everybody, who knows, and all that. So what do you think the church can do deliberately to make sure that young people are positioned to collect this leadership mandate and do it well and be able to survive to the next generation to hand over?
We need to redefine church. Yes.
Okay.
We need to redefine church. See, for many years, we've been sitting in the four walls of the building, and to start with, the church is not the building. The church is meant to be the Christians that worship there, right? So we've sat in these four walls of the church, and when it's time, we go for evangelism periodically, we go for missions, if we even go. How effective have we sat down to do an analysis of what we have been doing over the years, an appraisal of it, to find out how effective are we? We've been doing this thing year in, year out. How effective are we in this area? How many lives have we been affecting over the years? So we need to redefine church. Right now, church may be that organization. Church may be that business place. Church may be that, because you see, so when I say redefine church, one of the things that is coming to my mind is discipleship. We need to be very deliberate in discipleship. We've done discipleship. We come and read scripture. We just, You see, one of the reasons why I don't have, it's painful talking about my life experiences, but I feel like God has allowed me gone through whatever I've gone through. It's not for me anymore. I have gone through that experience, and I may not go through it again. But of what benefit will it be for me to keep quiet? If I say it under God, I'll probably encourage somebody not to fall into that same, situation I felt, right? So we should redefine church. When we say discipleship, yes, let's come and open scripture, x-ray scripture with young people, but we need to begin to disciple people into politics. We need to start discipling people into business. We need to start discipling people into even the media, the music industry.
So what it means is that the young people need to follow you where you are going.
Sure.
It's not just sitting down and doing Bible study, but
Sure.
they need to follow you, whether it's at work, whatever it is you are
That's
doing.
right.
Come to your home
That's right.
and sit with you.
That's right. Like Bible said of Jesus, Bible said the disciples, they followed him everywhere. All the places he went to. What I was thinking is they probably saw him when he was sleeping. If he was snoring, they saw it. Yes. If he was...
Oh, they saw him sleeping.
Yes,
He was sleeping in the boat.
yeah. So they saw his life. So, and Jesus is... Are we truly emulating Jesus?
So it's not like a compartmentalized
No.
life where we see the whitewashed
Yes.
in church on Sunday.
We want
You
to
were-
present that
Yeah.
aspect of ourselves. Can we be open? I mean, I'm saying even to our parents, can you tell us that areas? I mean, under God, of course. I'm not saying you should just open up, but can you tell us that areas that you did not do well, that you feel we should strengthen our life? Because the truth is that if you fail somewhere, if you see somebody going through that same route, you will easily identify. So can we be open enough and then tell these young people, tell us where you got it right, and where you got it wrong.
And how we can.
And how we can, under God, better it so that long when you are gone, we'll remember that, you told me this thing, and that was my saving grace.
Jesse.
Okay, many
Time
things.
is not our friend.
Okay, many things are coming to mind. You spoke about Jehoshaphat.
Hi.
Yeah, very,
Sad.
very sad story.
And Joash too. I was sad.
Yeah, Joash. There are many of them like
See how
that.
he killed his
who's-
mentor's son.
yeah, he's Jehoiada, right? So,
Mm.
so the whole thing for me is that, as he has said, church is dynamic. Mm? I believe that for such a time, those who are given this responsibility of leadership, to an extent, there is this rigidity. This rigidity. I am now talking about maybe youth are living to that, the church to other places where maybe they actually have seen freedom. And he was talking about discipleship, talking about many things. But before I go there, what you talked about, Joash, is very deliberate, that this whole thing is a two-way thing. There will be a place of giving and a place of receiving. There are many people, you can be very, very deliberate about them. You're going after them, but you could see how disinterested they are.
That's right.
That does not mean that you should give up anyways. But one of the things that I saw from the life of Joash is that tradition. It is tradition. Perhaps the son was not fit for that. And that's a mistake that we do for succession. That now people are looking for people who is in my camp, even if the person is not fit. I'm just talking about like the politics that happens even in the church. I know somebody that a friend of ours, we already know him. The person is not that so serious. The last time we saw him, it was his birthday. They put a very big flyer, and they are pastor, so head of so. So one woman said, if this guy is a pastor, she will never go to the church, right? She will never. That some people find a way of maybe just giving leadership to people whom they've not groomed. Like Joash, it's possible that among the sons, there will be somebody who is better, Jehoshaphat, who is even better to be given this thing to. But because of tradition or culture or this, we just want to hand it over to people who might not even be capable. For Paul to tell Timothy, hand it over to faithful men, it means that through your spirit you are able to discern who is a faithful
So it's not
person.
to everybody.
It's
That's
not
right.
to everybody.
That's right.
That you might be in that church, people can put different faces. Because I love position, I can be coming and be committed, and before you know, they just drag me and make me head of something, and then I begin to mess the place up, just as you have already said from the beginning. So I have seen it from that angle, and then I already talked about it's a give and receiving thing. That the youth also need to be really, really deliberate and be positioned in such a way that when the fathers or the leadership is given all of these lessons, that they are interested in actually to learn. Because you have young people at home, and you know how difficult it can be that we are trying to pass this to them. They are not trying to see it.
Disinterested.
Yes.
Sometimes
So
they're disinterested,
it calls for this understanding that from our fathers, let them understand us, and let us also understand them. The church is dynamic. That what we've been using in 1940, it's not what we are coming now to say. Okay, we want to do it.
I'm not sure our pastors will like this thing you are saying. You want them to change mode of worship, how they do things.
Not really. Okay, you can change the method while the standards remain the same, right? You don't change the standards. I used to tell them that there are things we can do even in the fellowship, that even this fun that you're talking about, there are things we cannot come and tell you cohabiting is fun. The word of the Lord, the foundation of the Lord stands sure.
Having this seal.
Having this seal,
Let
that
everyone that call the name of the Lord
depart from iniquity. There are some things that you cannot. You remember we are talking about conviction. There are some things you are so convinced about that there is nothing that will make you to shift ground. However, the methods that we
Can
do
be
things, yes, need to really be redefined. And he talked about discipleship. This generation is that, okay, I want to have many people so that I will call these people my children. even if I do not know their testimony, even if I do not know, because now they come and young people, we have a way of making this father feel, okay, I'm with you, I'm with you. Meanwhile, you are on your own. But since I come, there is this little loyalty. But if you do not deliberately, it's not to come and dish out the Rema on Sunday, you are doing Sunday school. Like, these people need to follow you to your houses. Discipleship have a cost. And on you, the discipler, you really need to be willing to pay that cost. If not, you are not going to have somebody to handle. You'll just be assuming that now you have children who are standing and they are really not doing well. They are devil's victims wherever they are. And you are thinking, because they now submit to me and they are now...
supposedly submitting
to
you, but they are not submitting to the Lord.
Yes, they are not submissive to the Lord. So all of these things need to really, really be redefined, that the youth needs to be deliberate in receiving. And that's what I have seen as the challenge. I have seen as the challenge that as much as many people are willing to pour out their life,
there are not people willing to receive.
Some are not willing to receive. And some also are willing to receive, but you are so rigid in your approach that it drives them away. It drives them away. You want to condemn somebody who come actually to try to open up. The reason why many people don't open up to you about their flaws, about their many failings, is because
they don't want to be condemned.
Somebody is telling you, you begin to frown your face.
I look serious the way you guys are. We need to wrap up because they'll soon come and drive us away from here. But I think this discussion, you guys need to come again. We need to continue because I think we have just scratched the surface.
So, Auntie, I need to quickly just add that. See, we must sacrifice to do this. Our pockets, it must affect our pockets.
Our time,
strength, energy, comfort. So
it's something we need to be very deliberate about.
Okay, I think we need to continue this discussion because it's time to go. So what you guys have said is, if the youth is going to be able to move to the future the way we want it, elders, not elders as per position, but senior people in church, we need to be willing to sacrifice our time, resources, and all that, and be deliberate about discipling this youth and pouring into their lives. And the youth too must be willing to receive what is there for them. So, Jezreel, aka Jay-Z, Stephanus, aka Rich Uncle, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about the youth and the future of the church. God bless you, and we look forward to you coming again. We're going to still continue this discussion because there are many things we want to we think we need to talk about. So viewers, thank you for sticking with us till this very end, for not touching that dial. And please, your questions, your comments on our social media handle, Facebook, we are there. Please say what you need to say, ask what you need to ask, and please just keep the discussion going. Thank you for being with us right here at the living room as we've discussed youth and the future of the church. God bless you. Please go out there and pour your life into a youth. And if you're a youth, reach out, open up, and receive what is coming your way. God bless us all, and may we continue serving Jesus as we await his great return. See you, same time, living room, if Jesus tarries. Bye.